Hey everybody, it's your girl Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama, coming to you from Black Expat Journey Podcast. How y'all doing? What's up? What's good? Okay, so I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time talking and chit-chatting, okay, because we got things to do, we got people to meet and stuff to learn. So today I am super, super, super honored to have Sherita and Dana with me today. They are my sister friends, family, living here in Panama, and they have so graciously agreed to share their journey to Panama and how they got here and how they met and what their life is like now and what they're doing and how they are like creating their own like special life and how they are like making us all jealous. Okay, because every time you look up, they in somebody other country, and we wondered, I wonder what time zone Dana and Sherita are in. But anyway, when I grow up, I'm gonna be just like them. So I just wanted to introduce Dana and Sherita to you today and let them tell you about their stories. Hello, my ladies.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, good morning.
Good morning. You know, I love you more than life.
We love you too.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I have missed you as you have traveled all over the world. And I thank you for taking time to spend some minutes with me today and with our audience. And so I'm just going to turn it over to you. Tell us, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you're working with. Go.
I knew she was going to make me start.
I'd love to have her start.
I'm going to start with who we are. Who we are.
Okay. Okay.
So, Sharita and I are 4 years into our relationship, almost 2 years married. We met actually on an app called Zoosk. I'd never heard of it before. We were both living in Chicago and internet dating. We're in the middle of COVID. You can't go out and meet anyone. You're not socializing through work. And so we met online.
Well,
And within 30 days, we had written our emails back and forth, had our first phone call, then our first Zoom date. And then we got out and went to the
Cheesecake
Cheesecake
Factory. Yeah.
Factory. Yeah, we're living in Chicago at the time. Went to the Cheesecake Factory. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm liking her. And second date, she invited me over for brunch. And well, let's just say she does not cook for me anymore.
I don't cook, but I
well,
tried.
She tried. She
well,
tried. Her heart was in
see
it.
that? Bait and switch, bait and switch.
So, and so the second date, or the third date actually, I had her in my place and I cooked. And by
Mhm.
this time, I'm really digging on her. And so I
Right.
pulled out all the stops. I did
You
potato
showed out.
salad and fried catfish and did bacon wrapped water chestnuts and made Korean pancakes. Every little appetizer I had ever made at a party before, I had it done. And I just gave it to her bit by bit and then packed up all the leftovers and sent her home with it. It was just like, let's reel this one in. Just and that's history. That's history. When it came
Wow.
to who I saw
Mm-hmm.
and the woman that she represented, I realized that we were both headed in the same direction. We were both on a growth and spiritual journey. We were on different roads, doing it a little bit differently, but we were aligned. And so I told her in that first 30 days, hey, if you really want to date me, you need to know I plan on retiring in the next year or so and leaving the country.
Okay.
And she was in. So do you have any feedback to add on that, sweetheart?
No, I would just add that I had never even considered another country until spending time with Dana, seeing her life. In addition to the real Anne, I was truly impressed with her artistry, her creativity, um, and she cooked. I mean, I was living on paper plates, and plastic red solo cups. That was my life in and out of a 55 plus community for the security because I traveled a lot from work. And
Yeah.
here she was when I went to her house on that third date, had a map of the entire world with little pin cushions of all the places she had been. And I realized, for my retirement, I like to see the world. And I want somebody in my life that's not afraid to get out and see the world and experience, all the beauty that, exists outside the United States. And even though I've traveled before for work and went to a number of places in Europe and Asia, it was work. It wasn't pleasure. So Dana offered me a path that I hadn't even considered. And when she shared with me her Eat, Pray, Love experience that
Oh,
she
yeah.
had in Costa Rica over COVID, I was like, she's brave too. See, to do this on her own and find and make a decision that she was going to live outside the United States. And she was looking at countries that, I was like, well, let's go visit them and find out. So it was for me it was love at first sight. The first Zoom
Oh.
call, she was sitting there with a glass of champagne and some chocolate chip cookie. And she would toss her hair and I was like, oh God, my heart putters. So I was into it from the very beginning.
So that's a really good story. So you both were in Chicago at the time.
Yes.
I love that you met during COVID. That was just like such a unique time in our lives in the first place, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so you both met in Chicago. Dana, you were not retired yet.
Neither
Sharita,
one
had
of
you?
us were.
No,
No,
we
you
both
were
were
still
working.
working too.
We were both working. Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to where you're from and then work up to what your work was before you retired.
So I'm originally from South Bend, Indiana, and the middle of three girls. My mom was the second oldest of five girls from New Orleans.
Mm.
And she was the only one that left. Everybody else stayed down south, and her and my dad moved to South Bend before any of us were born. My dad was an artist, and
Yes.
he actually was one of the first Black men to graduate from Notre Dame. He got his master's from Notre Dame, and
Oh.
that's how we ended up in South Bend. So I grew up around art, around models, around painting and sculpting, and learning from watching and participating with him. And my mom was an elementary school teacher, and so I had this creativity just being pushed into me from both sides. Now, one of the things that sitting down, you audience out there don't know is that I am really 6'4", but I stand 4'8". So, and my mom, who always said she was 4'10", it was a lie. I could see the top of her head. She was about 4'6". Her biggest concern for me was knowing what it was like growing up being a small woman and looking way younger than me. And so she instilled in me this belief that I could be, do, and have whatever I put my mind to. And I believed her, and that's how I've walked through life. So I left when I was 25 years old. I left, it was the second time I left, but that's another story, and moved to Georgia. And I lived in Georgia for 17 years, which is where I started my career. And then I moved to Chicago, where I lived for 18 years. Fast forward, my dad died, a long-term relationship ended. We're in the middle of COVID, and I heard about this retreat in Costa Rica where I could do ayahuasca. And I decided I was going. And I took a month and I went to Costa Rica and I worked remotely for 2 weeks. And then I went and had my spiritual experience. And then I wandered up and down the coast for a week. Every once in a while, I would pinch myself and say, oh my God, you're in another country. But that experience, my Eat, Pray, Love trip, let me know that I did not need corporate America to be happy. I was at peace. I didn't need the money. I didn't need the trappings. I had a little bit of money set aside, and I had been following international living for almost 5 years, and I knew that Mexico, Puerto Rico, Panama, and Portugal were all countries where I could live on just $1,500 to $2,000 a month and be okay. And I could stretch my little buckets to make it until I could start earning Social Security. And that was the mindset I was in when Sharita and I met. It's like, I'm going to retire. I'm going to leave. I don't have to be here in Chicago driving my BMW or my little Fiat and living in this great condo downtown Chicago. I was just outside of the loop. I mean, I was living large, going out to eat. It was great. I had a little bit of money left over after I paid for this lifestyle. But I would have a whole lot more to live on if I went someplace else.
Someplace else. Hmm. Okay.
So by the time I met Sharita, I had already planned a tour to take a look at Panama.
Hmm.
I had been here in 2017. Actually, we were both here at the same time, but we didn't know each other then. And
Wow.
paths did not cross. We were on the same group tour where they had rented out a whole resort, but we never met each other. But we were both there at the same time, which was
On the same
Wow.
tour,
on this,
never
yes,
met.
it was just uncanny. And we were both there with different people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so we had just started dating, and I said, well, I'm gonna go check out Panama.
Yeah.
And I
Uh-huh.
came down here, and in a week I traveled the entire country. I didn't really get to spend any time in the city.
Right.
I went and I saw Coronado and Gorgona and Chitre, and I was like, oh, this is nice, this is nice. Ended up out in David and Boquete and spent most of the time in Boquete,
Mhm.
and beautiful area, so far away, so would be challenging if you wanted to continue to have a lifestyle of a lot of travel, just
Mhm.
trying to get yourself back into Panama
Before
City to
today.
go out.
Yes. To the airport.
But I was impressed enough that Panama stayed on my list,
Hmm.
on our list. And
So when
then
you did that tour, had you already met Sharita?
yes,
Yes.
I met
Okay.
Sharita that July
Okay.
and said, before you date me, you need to know that I'm leaving the country. I'm going to retire
Right.
within a year,
Right.
and I'm going to Panama
Right.
to check it out. And
Yeah.
she said, okay. Now, full disclosure, I'm gonna add this part in. Sharita was perfect for me.
Mhm.
She had everything going for her. And my first thought was, what can I do? How do I make her like me? And the minute I had that thought, I said, oh no, no. My last relationship, I had turned myself into somebody I didn't even recognize, trying to
Right.
be who I thought that person wanted. And I told
Yes.
her, I think I need to take a step back because I need to be sure. I had done counseling. I'm not ashamed to say it. If you haven't done
Yes.
counseling, do it. I needed to heal some pretty deep wounds, and I needed to make sure that I was solid in
With
who
you.
I am and
Hmm.
with me and
Hmm.
who I wanted to be and representing myself. And so I took a step back, but she stayed there. She stayed with my friend and more. And so I went to Panama and I came back and said, okay, I'm going to retire. We're going to retire. And we put our notice in on the same day that following spring.
Really?
Yes. And I agreed to stay 3 extra months because they weren't giving me really much extra to stay. I had worked in risk management in the legal sector, not a lawyer,
Hmm.
but worked for 5 law firms over 50 years, managing all the areas of a firm that provide or open up risk to the
Risk.
firm
Uh-huh.
or to the client. And I was good at what I did, and I liked it, but I was done. And Sharita agreed to stay for 9 more months till the end of
So they
December.
made it
So they
attractive
got you
for
for
me to
three
stay.
months. They got Sharita for 9 months. Nine
Yeah,
more.
they made it attractive though,
Okay.
because they offered me a lot to stay. And
Yes.
I was like, I think it's to our advantage to, let that happen. And I was still
Exactly.
working remotely, so I didn't have to move or anything. So
And you could
we
still
continue to
travel.
make plans. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm gonna just say this again because I know that you probably won't. Sharita is very, very humble. You can tell by looking at her face right now. She's not gonna tell you what she did. She didn't tell me what she did. I had to Google her to find
Wow.
out the details about her. I am very proud that to say that my wife was a senior vice president at Comcast. She is very smart. She was had a huge lot of responsibility, huge amount of responsibility, did travel around. And even before you worked at Comcast, you were at Motorola and, you know, going to talk to factories about the parts that were building cell phones. And I mean, she's very, very humble. She does not talk about herself.
I love that about her because she also, because like I said, I learned so much about y'all when I'm interviewing you because nobody boasts about what they did, but she supported technology and product roadmaps for more than 1,600 facilities. She's a bad girl, baby. She's a bad girl. Oh, yes, I love it. I love it. And I think I was telling you guys that one of the things that I really like about being here and being an expat is the fact that we are expats is the focus of our existence. It's like, how did you get here? What's your story? It's not like coming from the US, and I think a lot of us too are retired or, no longer doing the things that we used to do to create all the trappings and all the things that we, thought were important in the United States. But we always lead with who are you, not what you do.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I love that because we have some like Marjorie and Sharon. I only learned within this last couple of months that Marjorie is an attorney.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that?
No.
Nope,
No,
never did. But in this, it seems like you could not know it in the United States. You could
right.
not know, that Sharita was this huge CEO, in the United States, a vice president. I mean, it just seemed like those are the things that you seek in people to find
Yeah.
out what they do as opposed to who they are. And I just love that kind of tapped into who you both are, not really knowing what you do because it really doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Awesome. Because Dana, you had a good career too.
I did. I did.
Yes, you had a good
I
career.
and I am, I don't know if I put this in the questionnaire, but I'm writing a memoir.
Huh.
It's
Yes.
called Spectator of My Own Life, and I hope it helps women in whatever stage of life they're in. If they're the 19-year-old single parent, the high school dropout, the woman trying to navigate corporate America that didn't, I didn't get a college education in jobs that were 5 jobs I held that required a college degree that I never got.
Mhm.
And because I believed my mom who said I
Mhm.
could be, do, and have anything. And I have.
And back in the
So
day, back in the day, I worked for law firms all my life and well, most of my adult life. And back when we started, we're like the same age, Dana. I think you're
mhm.
a year older than me. Um, you got through on merit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You could if you got in there and you showed them that you knew what you were doing, that you could learn new things, that you wasn't going to be bothering the partner every 5 minutes about how do I do this? That's the last thing you want to do on a job. When you let them see what you could do,
Hmm.
you were able to climb up, without all of the degrees and things like that, with just the experience and knowledge. So it used to be more about experience and
Yeah,
talent as opposed to degrees. And so we came in at a good time.
we did. We
Yes.
did. So we started traveling. I guess that's
Hmm.
kind of where we are. We got together. We retired. We
Hmm.
retired, and my lease was up in April, and I was ready to go. Was
Hmm.
ready to go. Was ready to go to Panama, but Sharita wasn't ready to go because she had just agreed to work until December. And so,
But I did not want my girlfriend at the time to be homeless. So she moved into my Naperville bachelorette 2 bedroom pad. And I'm thinking, because she's going to Panama, that she's down to suitcases until the moving truck showed up and started, several items. And I just basically, gave her the entire basement to start putting all her, supplies and all the things that she had in her apartment, which, I didn't realize she had quite a bit. And I'm thinking I made a closet available to her and a couple of drawers. That didn't work out so well.
Mostly
Wow.
what I brought was art supplies and art.
Mhm. Okay. And that's
And
what you're pursuing that. You're pursuing that here.
Yes.
So
yeah,
how did you guys, and you're doing some other things too. And Sharita, I see you still have interest in, you want to do like more I never could say this word. Phil,
philanthropic. Yes.
Philanthropy. Phil,
Yeah, definitely more philanthropic
uh-huh.
endeavors. I'm co-chair of an organization called Wellbeing for Youth in Action, or Wellbeing Action for Youth. Um, it's a spinoff of an organization I've been involved in for almost 16 years, which was Inner Explorer, which is all about really providing kids with tools that they can start to self-regulate themselves in classrooms so they're ready to learn. And they do that through technology platform or audio of, mindfulness and meditation. And it's for K through 12 kids. And that platform had reached 2 million students over the last 10 years and still growing. And so the spinoff was, let's turn that non-for-profit into a for-profit. So InterExplore is now a for-profit. I elected to stay on the board for the nonprofit piece so we can have a bigger impact with looking at mental health for youth, upstream prevention of mental health for youth. And that's what the Way organization is all about. So I co-chair that right now as we still go through the transition. And it's all about how do we provide programs to help not just the youth, but the support organizations around it, including the parents, and the community, to help youth deal with, all the stressors that are preventing them to learn and, essentially, be better citizens in this world. So I want to continue to support that. I do that sometimes. To Dana, raises an eyebrow at me because I'm on several meetings that continue to advance the ball forward and the type of efforts that we're making happen. But the mission is mindful awareness for youth and making sure that these kids have everything they need to be successful, with tools. Because if you think about it, at least for myself, if I had a daily practice of, mindful and meditation as a child, the stress that I experienced growing up in Chicago on the South Side in the hood, um, I've survived it, but it would have been so much better, in terms of learning skills on how to, manage myself through, some of the things that were happening around me.
I mean, that's just the mindfulness, the wellness when it comes to our mental health and our emotional well-being. I think sometimes we just overlook all of that,
Yeah.
and honestly, especially when it comes to kids.
Yeah, the kids aren't given those tools early enough that,
Yes.
they're looking within themselves to be able to calm down, to breathe, to, something as simple as a body scan to, understand how you're feeling across your body and manage those emotions. Um, this is what, well-being action for youth, and the acronym is WAY. So we're trying to show the way for youth to have some prevention techniques that can help them, have the resources they need and the platform of, you know, having some kind of meditation practice, breathing practice, just to be aware, mindful walking, mindful eating, all these things to just be aware because there's so much that we do unconsciously and, you don't even realize it, in your day to day. And so it not only helps the youth, but, again, those that support them in the community and their families.
It's something that if you learn, which let's just face it, a lot of them probably are not, we're not learning this. It's something that you learn that you'll never forget.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And even if they get to the point where they're not practicing it daily, you know, if they come, they know to recognize, the anxiety and stress, and they have some tools to help deal with that.
Yeah,
And
and
I
it
think
stays
I
with
think
you.
that is awesome.
Hey, this stays with you all your life. I mean, even Nita,
Yes.
when she sees I'm stressed, she's like, "Did you meditate today?"
Yes.
I'm like, nope, I see you later. Let me go in my room and meditate to
Yes.
help calm me down.
I
Just
have started doing that like in the morning. For me,
Mhm.
it's like you know, once I get out that bed, it's just you
Yeah,
just
game
gone,
on. Take on the day.
game
Yeah.
on. And but I have to take a minute to just kind of focus on where I am, how I'm feeling, and just take a few minutes to be quiet. And what I
Yeah.
had to do, what I had to consciously do was bring spirituality back
Hmm.
into my life. And always been spiritual. I mean, even before I was saved, I was spiritual. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But I mean, I just think taking that time to focus on God and who He is in my life, in those first fruits of the day, are so important. It can just set the pace for the rest of the day. And I just think that even for me as a young person, learning some of the tools that the kids in the Way program get probably would have really been helpful to me too. And
Yeah.
the and
Well,
the and the
it's helpful as adults too. I mean, that's
yes.
one thing Dana and I share is that, both our early morning rituals involve,
Mm-hmm.
having that quiet time for
Right
ourselves.
time.
She goes off and does her thing, I do my thing, but it is how we set, the tone for the day by having the opportunity to, reflect and have the spiritual. Dana's really good about sharing not only with me, but with all of our communities, some inspirational readings to, give us some thoughts about how we should be, embracing the new day, and it's a way, like you said, and you learn this early enough in your life, you have the tools to handle whatever comes your way.
So, and it must be such a blessing I mean, as we get older in life, if we're not married, if we haven't found that special one, I think that some people start thinking, I probably never will. I'll probably at this point, I'll probably just, die by myself. And I do believe that people feel that. So I love it when you see people that later in life, find each other because I believe that we find each other at just the right times.
Hmm.
And I believe that even though it's just ironic and not a coincidence, I'm sure that you did not cross paths in 2017.
Hmm.
Because if you had crossed paths in 2017, you may not have been sitting here together today
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
by
I agree
virtue
with
of
that.
where you would have been,
Timing is
where you were
everything.
in your lives at
Hmm.
that particular time. It wasn't the time, you
Hmm.
know. So how did you guys end up? So then you checked out Dana. You checked out Panama from the Boquete and David areas like on your own. How did you get Sharita to come back for a beep tour?
Well, by this time I'm living with her
Hmm.
for a very short time. It only took us a couple months to realize that her tiny, adorable little house, it really wasn't that small. It was just not big enough for the two of us to have the space to really spread out. We
Yeah.
decided that we needed to move somewhere bigger. By the time I moved in with her, I had already put in my notice, so I was working out my retirement.
Mhm.
Um, time there training my replacement. And we thought about where else could we move? If we were going to move, did we want to stay in Chicago? And we had both lived in Atlanta early in our careers. And so we got online. We decided, what do we want? What are we looking for? Sherita found a perfect house. And we put an offer on this house, sight unseen, and then went down to look at it. So we bought that house in August. And by September,
2022?
in
Was this 20?
2022,
Okay.
by September, I was in Panama with my lips stuck out to here, or not in Panama, excuse me, in Atlanta with my lips stuck out because I was supposed to be in Panama. And she's up in Naperville still working out her retirement and getting the house ready so that she could sell it. And I have just gotten rid of 90% of all of my belongings, not counting art and artwork and clothes, in preparation for Panama. And I struggled. I struggled. I'm a planner. I research and research and research and checklist and everything derailed. And I ended up in this beautiful home in Panama. I don't want to knock the house in Panama. Gorgeous home. You came to visit us. You
Yeah,
saw
it's
it.
beautiful. Atlanta.
In Atlanta, I know. I keep Panama. Panama is where I'm meant to be. That's why I keep saying that. So we redid this house. We got it all decorated, ready to go. Sherita is now
Beautiful.
down in November. Her house sold in like 3 hours.
Wow.
And then in December, we went on tour number 14, Black Expats in Panama. We did it together.
Uh-huh.
And we were supposed to do the tour the first week, and the second week, oh, let me take you to Devine and Phuket and show you what that is, so that when we make this decision, we're making it based on the entire country. Now, I need to add in there, I think I missed something. In the spring of 2022, we went to Portugal.
Yeah.
For the first time.
For your birthday.
For my birthday to check out Portugal. We loved Portugal, but it was too far away. Too far away from family. And the restrictions on a visa said you had to be in the country for 6 months out of the year. And we knew that's not something that we would be able to do.
Right.
We went to Mexico, where you don't really own the property on the coast. It's in trust with the bank, so it's never really yours. And so that knocked out Mexico. Not in the interior, perhaps, but if you want to live on the coast, and we were in Puerto Vallarta, you own it with the bank. It's in trust with the bank. It's not just yours. And
because you're a foreigner? Or just is that just how it goes?
I think so. I think that's why. It's but I don't know. But that stipulation just didn't work for us.
It's important. It is. That's why it is so important to do your research.
Yes. Then Costa Rica, having been there, I loved Costa Rica, and we went back for a different birthday to visit Costa Rica. For our lifestyle, Costa Rica doesn't have the infrastructure, unlike Panama City, where you have this horizontal living with a doorman that is basically guarding your space. Somebody's going to take your stuff when you leave the country for a month. You're going to come back and someone else is going to be living there. And so that just didn't work. So anyway, back to December of 2022, we're here. We canceled the second half of the trip, deciding with sight unseen. Sherita's like, yeah, no, the city is where it's at. And I have to tell you, Charlotte, a lot of it, the majority of what made our choice is the tour that we took with you. The learning about our culture, seeing what's close by, but that we could be in the city and we could go to the beach, that we could be in the city and we could go to Cologne, we could go to to down to Portobello. We could experience all of that within the city limits or within a couple of hours. And within the city, there were all different levels of lifestyle that we could have. So we canceled the second half of our trip and we rented a very nice hotel down in Casco Viejo and we stayed here and we bought our first apartment and loved it. You know,
I
no
mean,
kids.
before you even left, you did that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
before we left.
we put
Yeah,
down,
you put a
earnest
contract.
money for our contract, yeah.
You know, we weren't interested in renting. We now I recognize that we're in a different place in many ways in our life than a lot of folks that are retiring. Had I been here by myself, my situation would have been different. I'd have been looking for a rental property and trying to find the right neighborhood. We were looking for an apartment that community didn't have a playground. Nothing against small children. I don't want to live with them. I don't want to hear the screaming, hollering, and yelling. I don't want to running up and down the hallway. I mean, you come visit, but then, you know, that's just not what we were looking for. And we ended up in Nuovo, that is more geared toward hotel living.
Mhm.
And it does now, but it didn't 2 years ago, have two restaurants downstairs. There was no playground. It did not, it wasn't geared towards family life.
Right. Is there a
And
playground now?
no,
No,
No. Okay. Okay.
no, no,
Gotcha.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that
Yeah.
quite so harshly. No, no,
Go
there's
to
no
the
playground.
no.
There are children
Hmm.
sometimes, but I think
Yes.
that that's more the transient element.
See.
There are a lot of expats in our building,
Hmm.
but the majority are coming from other Latin countries. There are
Hmm.
Americans. We've
Hmm.
met a small handful, but
Hmm.
we've met Colombians and Venezuelans. I met a guy last year, really, really liked him. He was from Germany. One woman is from Mexico City. And then a lot of people come in as an investment property and have purchased the property. There are a combination of people who own outright and those who got a mortgage through the developer. So it's a nice mix. Um, I naturally am on the WhatsApp owners group.
Hmm.
Um, and not by myself. We got the whole building in, and I'm one of now 5 administrators that are just trying to help us collectively have a voice about um, things that are happening in the building and with administration. Because in our case, in this building, it's not just a rental property, it's also a real estate commercial property with the restaurants. They've got an Orange Theory there. They've got other commercial spaces that are um, soon to be filled with other types of businesses. And so I think that makes it different from a lot of the PHs in the
Mixed
city.
use. It's a mix. It's now like
That's it.
it's a mixed use.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
We like it. We've been happy there.
Mhm.
I didn't know
And
they had. I didn't know Orange Theory was here at all.
yeah,
Yeah, they're in the
it's on the
building.
second floor. They've only been there about maybe 6 or 7 months.
I've
Mhm.
never heard of an Orange Theory in Panama, so that's news. So okay,
So,
so you guys you moved there, and so when did you come back? You decided on a tour, and that was
oh,
December of 2022.
that December of 22, we signed that contract. By the end of February, beginning of March, we were back.
Yeah.
We were back and we were going back and forth, and we were not snowbirds.
Mhm.
We would be like, let's go to Panama.
Mhm.
And we would come. We tried to spend a lot of time here in the winter months because it still gets cold in Atlanta.
Mhm.
But it could be the middle of summer in Atlanta and say, let's go to Panama. Or Sherita would go back in January, she family in Atlanta. And then of course the travel. We do travel like, you know, four
Yeah.
or five international trips a year.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 international
Well, that's
trips a
next
year.
year. Yeah. Okay. So there's some trips that to me don't count. For example, I love going on the Sisters in Panama trip, run by one Charlotte Van Horn. I love, 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 love that. And that doesn't really count because other than 1 year, they're right here in Panama.
Yes. Yes.
So that doesn't count.
Hmm.
And then in April, we
Like
go
a
to Mexico.
staycation for
It's a
you.
stay, that's right, it's a staycation.
Hmm. Hmm.
In April, this one has a birthday celebration. So we do a week, we have a timeshare in Mexico. And
Hmm.
so that's just a gonna do. I don't think that counts either.
Okay.
And so then it's really only 3 or 4 international trips a year.
Okay.
Well, we're going to be in Ghana in October. And
Yes, we'll be
aren't you
there.
guys coming to Brazil too?
We are, but
Yes.
we're on the November trip.
You're on the
We have
November.
to
That's
switch
right.
For
it.
Ghana,
November in Ghana. You're
and
coming
then
with us.
April in
And then your
Brazil.
April 2026, we're going to Brazil.
Yes,
So
we're on
I
both.
love it that, that's the other thing about, we have created such a community here. We
Well, we
even
went on the
travel
Cuba
together.
trip.
That's
We went
right.
on Cuba.
Uh-huh.
We did the Cuba, and we also do short trips to Colombia. We were in Cartagena for a few long weekends, and then we did the
We did
Medellin.
Medellin, and the only reason we weren't with you in Medellin is because we were in Iceland.
Right. You
Well,
guys,
we
but
just
you
came
did
back
you
from
but you
Iceland.
you guys have got to do that Medellin. That Medellin trip is
We
We
amazing.
did.
did. We went on our
No, with
own.
We went in
me.
December.
Oh,
Oh,
with
when are you
Beep,
going
with
back?
Beep.
We'll
Okay.
go back with you. Just tell us when.
We've released our next tour is December 10th through the 15th, and then we released two new dates for 2026. We have a date in February and a date in May. People have figured out something with that Medellin, because for those that don't know, Black Expats in Panama, or BEEP Tours, is now we have moved into Colombia. So we are hosting cultural relocation tours in Colombia and Panama now. And so what two different people have realized to do is they're coming on our BEEP cultural relocation tour in Panama from December 1st to the 5th, and staying and then coming to Medellin from the 10th through the 15th. So for 2 weeks, for that first 2 weeks, pretty much in December, they will get cultural relocation tours in two countries.
That's
Because
beautiful.
the flight is like an hour or less. I mean,
Yeah.
Right,
wow, it's
right.
more for us
Well,
last time. But anyway, so that it's a really, really cool experience. And when you're going on when you're touring and you're visiting places, going from a relocation perspective is completely different than going strictly for a vacation. Like
Mhm.
some of the things that you just mentioned, Dana, about getting residency in Portugal and Mexico. Those are not things that people discover when they do not do intentional research on relocation.
right.
People will go to places and like, oh my God, this is so neat. But the devil is in the details. And, one of the things that's so great about Panama is, at this time, and I always want to make that clear, everything that we're talking about is relative today.
Yes.
Tomorrow things could be completely different, right?
Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the one thing that I really like about Panama is that it's not about moving here. It's about having the option to move here,
Right.
because you can become being a resident, being able to say, okay, I want to leave the United States for now, and I don't want to come back in 6 months. I want to stay where I'm at until I'm ready to come back. And
Right.
you can't do that unless you have residency in that particular country. Somebody made such a good point, and they were saying that you can go somewhere else. So, say if you have to leave in 6 months, leave Panama, you don't necessarily have to go back to the US. You could go somewhere else, which is a way to do it too. But I like the feeling of belonging. And I think that for us to have visa portfolios is just like our ancestors' wildest dream, baby. I'm just telling you the
Hmm.
truth to your face.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We are not limited to being citizens of the United States and residents of Panama. We can be residents in other places as well. But it's about that knowledge and understanding. Now,
Mhm.
let me just skip to the fact that you're married, and And what is it? How do you feel? I mean, I know that when you're married, you women that are married to each other, that is something else you have to look at. I've talked to a lot of my friends, and they say, "Well, I don't want to live there," in different places because they're not friendly towards me. You know what I mean? Or the laws don't honor me in my choice and who I love. And so, like, what is that story for you with regard to the US and Panama and maybe some other places that you've considered?
I'm trying not to monopolize, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk first.
Oh, thank you. So, clearly, US has, started out before this new administration with acceptance of same-sex marriages. And so Dana and I have made a lot of provisions to protect, our marriage. We have a trust, we have a will, we make sure that, our assets and belongings are cared for and, given to the people we love in our life. Coming to Panama, their laws don't openly embrace same-sex marriage, but they don't discourage it either. They don't traumatize you about it. We again, because we both operate under, our own names, our legal names, have done things to secure, our assets and our belongings. We've purchased homes in both our names. We've set up a foundation, which is much like a trust, to handle our assets for both our names. So
Joint checking
we have
account.
joint checking account,
Mhm.
and again, our legal support helps, facilitate that. I feel safe here in Panama, and I don't feel discriminated against because of who I love. As a matter of fact, Dana's the first to announce to anyone, this is mi esposa,
Mhm.
so,
Mhm.
um, and I usually am pretty quiet anyway, so I don't say much at all. But she is very proud of our marriage and our relationship. And when, introducing ourselves, we introduce ourselves as married, and we don't feel any discrimination against that. So while the laws don't say specifically an announcement, there seems to just be a welcoming community, a kindness of Panamanians, to whoever you are.
Well, I want to add that not just Panamanians, but I have also, for the most part, I'll give it 95% that the Black expat community here has not displayed some of the cold shoulder that we might get from hetero couples in the States.
Mm. Okay.
Many have kind of dropped their guard. Living in Panama is a totally different experience. You don't at some point you stop looking over your shoulder. You drop the
Yes.
expectation of being discriminated against, and it is replaced by the expectation of the kindness and patience of Panamanians. And granted, the large part of the expat community is retired, not everyone. And so in our retirement, we decided to live life differently, not closed into our community in the States, staying close to home, but getting out and being engaged and meeting people. And you literally fall into a community here if you want to. So I'm
Mhm.
going to take just a couple more minutes to talk about that
Mhm.
community piece
Yes.
because there are a large amount of single women that retire here alone for the same reasons that I was going to do it by myself.
Hmm.
I can afford to live a better life here for less money than working for another 10 years to try to, stay in the States. And so they've come here alone. And while they fall into the larger community, there's a difference between let's go play cards or let's meet at this restaurant and drink, I think, or party. There's more to that. There needs to be more than that. in
Yes.
life. And so organically, I created this group. And it just happened because I met a woman in my neighborhood speaking English, getting her nails done 2 chairs down from me. And I'm like, yo,
Mhm.
sis, where are you from? You're in my neighborhood. I haven't heard anybody speak English.
Right.
And I realized, hey, there's a lot of Black women right here. And so a year and a half ago now, had 8 women in our home. It's like, let's start this group just in Bay Vista. We're all walking distance from another. I have
Mhm.
Sharita, but none of them, other than one other person had a husband, but the rest of the women were there all by themselves. And so we created this group, this connection, so that we were all connected. We are walking distance from one another. You are not alone, whether you have to go to the doctor, you're sick, you need somebody to bring you soup, you need somebody to bring you back something from the States, whatever it is you need, we're here. And the goal is to build relationships and friendships with women that are close by. And now when we go to any of these larger events, if you're part of the group, you see us all gravitate to one another.
Yes.
We've built those sister
Mhm.
relationships and are supporting one another. We're now almost 60 women.
Mhm.
Women, and it's women of Bay Vista, right?
Yes, not all of Bay Vista. We have
Right.
actually got a border map. You have to be, we're within like a mile of each other.
Okay. But
Goal
the
is
name of your group is Women
it's
of Bay Vista,
it's
right? And
Bay
that's
Vista
B
Women
E
Connect.
Bay
B,
Vista Women Connect.
yes.
Mhm.
B
And
E Bella.
B, yes. Bella Vista.
Bella Vista. I just can't remember first starting talking to people who live in Panama and trying to what is it?
Phonetically?
Yes, spell these things in my head, and you would never, somebody that doesn't, is not familiar with it, they would be thinking Beya or something like
Oh,
for
yeah.
Baya,
Yes, the
Baya.
double
So I
L's
was
of the
sometimes I
I.
try to, and Baya means beautiful, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Beautiful view.
Beautiful view,
Mhm.
vista, beautiful view. Okay, and you were able to create that. You said there's 60 women now.
Yes.
Wow,
All by
that is
word of
just
mouth.
organically. You
Yes.
know, I do. I mean, why do you think that community is so much easier to build here?
Wow. I think that I really do think that the expectation of mistreatment, you let that go. That kindness permeates everything. Um, if it is difficult. It is difficult to make friendships once you hit your 50s, and many of us are in our 60s and beyond. It's harder and harder to make adult friendships. And so I think some of it starts with loneliness, realizing that you're alone. What do I do? And you have these bubbly women. They are, when somebody joins, all of a sudden you have 20 or 30 women pounce in the chat. Welcome, welcome. So glad you're in the family. Can't wait to meet you. Da, da, da. And it could be overwhelming, especially to someone who is more of an introvert. It's like, whoa, okay. But it's an out, they are all of them, they're genuinely happy to meet you and want to be helpful and come on out and I don't know,
I think that in addition to all that, you found your contemporaries. When you are in the States, unless you're in one of those 55 plus communities,
Hmm.
it's hard to meet up with Black women your
Hmm.
age going through the same thing that you're going through. And when you do get in, you probably cling very closely. But this is a broad group, and I love the camaraderie, the hey, I'm going to the art fair, anyone want to go? And boom, you got,
right.
10, 15 women jumping on the opportunity to connect and meet. I mean, we went to this recent art fair at the convention center, and it was amazing that, just everybody, hey, talking about it, there's something there. And, it's easy. It's easy, it's effortless, it's no drama. Uh,
Mhm.
we're not trying to get in each other's business and, take somebody man, whatever that is.
Well,
So I mean, when you're in the States, because those groups tend to claim they're married or, your age, it's just hard to connect and stay connected because most of those are, finding that their life is contained in their little neighborhood and sometimes just on their couch in front of Netflix, where this is a bigger life. This is explore the culture. This is something happening all the time. Explore the food, the I mean the cuisine, the just everything here is just so
Language.
open. Yeah.
now I do want to stress that this group is not a social group.
Mhm.
We are social, and at least once every 3 to 4 months, we try to do something to bring everyone together. It's really about fostering support and community,
Mhm.
and and the willingness to come to someone's aid.
Sure.
Um, and we share information about all these different things that are happening, but we're not sponsoring a bunch of events.
Right, right.
And so there are lots of different groups that do that, but
Hmm.
that's not what this is.
But the coming to aid is a very real issue and
Oh,
concern.
yes.
You're here by yourself. And we found, that when people say, hey, I'm not feeling well or have the flu, everyone is, can I bring you soup? Let me stop by. Let me check on you. And that's really what the foundation of the group is just being there to support, to make sure, you're being taken care of if you're willing to post that there's something going on. Oftentimes, I mean, Dana and I if I have the flu, Dana's, in another room taking care of me. And we
Hmm.
share resources, we share dentists, we share doctors. Those resources are important, for our health. And, when we have a good experience with them, we're praising the name. So
Yeah,
we've
there's a
got,
there's a dentist I want to go to now
yeah,
that
yeah,
several women have now checked. Okay, I went. It was my turn. This was my experience. I'm like, okay, let's
Yes.
contact information again.
yeah.
And yeah,
So
Well,
so
helping each other.
one of the things that, I have to say about this whole Brexit movement, where a lot of us are leaving or exiting the US, is that a lot of us are women.
yeah.
Majority of the time, if you come on any beep tour, a majority is going to be women. So, like when they say, when are you going to do the next women's tour? Well, we don't really I don't really do those all the time. However, you're going to meet a lot of women on our tour. There are going to be men there, and it's never uncomfortable. We have a nice mix, but women are definitely leading this movement, and women are moving alone. So,
Yeah.
one of the things on the tour that I really insist on is the WhatsApp. So just like you
Yeah.
guys, you have the WhatsApp is the connector. It is. If you're going to do anything international, you got to be on WhatsApp, period. But the WhatsApp group creates a safety. It's like if you're in the group and you're in distress and you put something in the group, Dana might not see it, Sharita might not see it, or but somebody going to see it.
Hmm.
That's the thing, as opposed to just having one person that you can connect with if something
Right.
Very good
happens,
point.
or
Yeah.
if they're on the tour and they get separated from us or whatever. Don't look for me. I tell them, put it in the chat. Somebody is going to see it, one of the team members or one of the other guests. And then I take it a step further. When you come to Panama, and Dana, you're on the Welcome Wednesday, and
Hmm.
it's like we create the whole point of that is to create safe spaces
Yes.
Hmm.
for us to meet, for us to establish those organic relationships.
Yep.
Hmm.
The Facebook group is over 11,000, and
Wow.
Wow.
it is, it's over 11,000. And the thing is that we don't really take kindly to people saying, hey, I'm coming to town, let's hook up. That's just not what our group does. Just like
Right.
you said, Dana, different groups do different things. And I always want people to understand that our group is not for you to sell. Our group is not for you to refer, to recommend or
Right.
whatever, because it just creates it's messy after a while. It's just not what we
Yeah.
do. But there are other groups that you can do that in.
Mhm.
But when we do these groups offline, that's the trick. I think it's one of the things that makes Panama, particularly Black expats in Panama groups, so amazing is that we have managed to get off Facebook or off
Yes,
social media, and we've really connected, face to face in safe environments. And then you can decide who you want to have coffee or tea with, outside
exactly.
of the
Mhm.
group organically, or who you definitely ain't trying to, what I mean, hook up with. So we do the Welcome Wednesday, we do the Cafe and Conversation, which is so great. And then we do the business to business.
Mhm.
So we
Wait a
create
minute, don't
these
forget single and satisfied and love and marriage, and you got the stuff for
single and
the
satisfied.
family.
We're trying to do the main. Well, I'm thinking about the main staples that single and satisfied. Yeah, we're pretty consistent with that, but not in the sense of the cafe and conversation, B2B, and the welcome,
Yeah,
because they happen second and third Wednesday and fourth Sunday without fail.
yeah.
And it's the community service that Black Expats does, but it creates in a
Mhm.
safe space to have these relationships. So that's important. I just wanted to say that I think I think that we have more patience for each other in an international space. I think we have more recognition of each other in an international space. Like, you know, like you said, we look like Panamanians. We
Yes.
look like Panamanians. And so that's like, even when when you first met that sister in your neighborhood, you was like, wait a minute, where you from? But if she hadn't opened her mouth, you would not have known she was from the US. Right? So I think,
No, no, I
no,
don't
you
know.
She would have
you
known.
think you would
For
have? You
her,
would
oh
have
yeah,
known
definitely. Definitely, Sister Girl was from Chicago or DC or LA or somewhere with a
without hearing her
long,
talk.
colourful
Without
fingernails.
hearing her talk, you can figure that out.
Mm, this one.
This
Just
Yes.
one.
this one.
This one. She's beautiful. She's beautiful.
Beautiful.
I call her kindness walking.
Okay.
And she is the sweetest soul I have ever met. Man, she's just an amazing woman. Glad to call her friend.
So, okay, so now not only, I mean, you guys have done a lot since 2021 when you met. You
Oh
got
yeah.
married, you moved to Atlanta, you traveled all over the world. You moved to Panama, and then you're moving again. So, do
Yes.
tell.
So what happened was, and this time I did not plant seed. She did. I just pulled out a ginormous watering can to get it growing. Um, as I said before, we weren't ever really snowbirds. We went back and forth, and traveled and would use either Atlanta or Chicago, where we started, as a base. We're going on a trip. Like we went to Italy. And so we went to Chicago and spent 5 days. My family is mostly up there, and Sharita still got family there. And then we went to Italy. And then coming back, we went to Atlanta and we spent 5 days to see more of Sharita's family there. And so we've seen people in both places and then come back. But last spring, before we went back, and it's always like in February or March, and I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go because we go back to this beautiful home that we put a pool in the backyard. It was just fabulous. Where we float around in the pool and sit in the backyard, lonely because we don't have any community there. And a family, they're young and they're working and they've got their young families with new children. And if we see them once a month, if we see them once a month, that's a lot. And so thank God this is my best friend. We enjoy each other's company. but it's hard. So we came down in August.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So when we left in the spring, Sharita said, maybe in the next 5 years, we can think about changing the footprint and making Atlanta a smaller footprint and getting a bigger footprint in Panama.
Panama.
And I was like, okay, let me pull
Mhm.
out my watering can. In August, my sister went on a BEIP tour.
Uh-huh.
And so we came down here. That was all the excuse we needed in the middle of summer. Ah, my sister's coming down. Let's go to Panama. And while we were here, hey, real estate agent, can you show us what a bigger footprint might look like?
Yeah.
And so we went and we looked at a place and we bought it. So here we are.
Well, it was similar experience to
Yes.
when we had the real estate agent show us the first place we bought. The
Yeah.
first place was the place. Then there were other places that we saw, which
Yes.
were no's, but the first place was yes. And I try to hamper down my excitement in the first place. Same thing happened with this. The first place we were in, I could see the possibilities, and it was like a yes. Then we saw other places and was like, no, 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 no,
It
no.
just confirmed. Well, you said this is to just confirm your yes. That
Yes.
that was me and Alfredo. I have never looked at another place to live ever. And so we're,
Hmm.
considering moving. And I mean, I guess it's kind of exciting. I mean, I'm always looking at places with other people that are looking for
Right.
that places,
Mhm.
but never really looking for ourselves. And so, this may not be the spot that we actually will spend our last days in. And I'm sad to say that, but so we'll be looking too. But if we were first was a love too. Okay, so then you found this bigger footprint.
And so we're actually in the bigger footprint now. We're not living here yet because we have no agua caliente till
Oh,
gas inspection, which won't happen until the dryer is installed. And so we are still staying in our first apartment.
yes,
And for the past year,
It's been a
it
year.
has been a year. When we got this place, I mean, it was nothing but a cement block. It had no floors. It
yes,
had no foundation. You could still see the pipes running through the floor. It didn't have that foundation layer that goes on before the tile. I have learned
yes.
so much in the past year,
She's
and
project managing the entire build.
it has been, and I have learned so much Spanish, and I have talked to plumbers and they're all different kinds of plumbers. There's gas plumbers and there's water plumbers. And there are people that build furniture, that's what you call the kitchen cabinetry is what they
Cabinets,
call
yeah,
furniture, and
yeah.
different
I
people
got a
that
furniture
build
builder coming
closets
today.
and tile people and
Hmm.
it's just been such a learning experience. But we're in now and just doing final touches. Today, the dining room tabletop got delivered up the side of the outside of the building. It came and because it couldn't fit in the elevator. And so that was funny. And so our wonderful home in Atlanta, all that stuff got put on a container and shipped here. So it's here. And last week, our house is under contract.
It's under contract.
So,
Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, that's so awesome. Because then
yeah,
now, once you go to close, you can move on.
yes.
Yes,
That part,
yes.
because you guys, between doing the traveling, getting ready to leave the current place and planning for the new place and everything like that, that's a lot. And then selling that place. Wow.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Thank
I
you.
you.
pray
Thank you.
everything goes the way it should.
We do too.
Awesome.
It will.
Yes,
Yes.
It will.
it will.
Everything
It
is in
absolutely
lockstep.
will.
It's happening. And so yeah, so there's just a lot of learning. Yeah. And I won't
Well,
ever have to do it again because this is it.
this is
This is
it.
the place.
That's what I think I need. We need to find our this is it.
Mhm.
Two. Is your place one floor or two?
One.
One. See, we have two floors, but what we did was we expanded. the first floor so that we could grow old into it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? If we had to. So it might be somebody else's place. I don't know. We'll see. Well, congratulations. I'm so happy that so much wonderful things is happening for you. I'm so happy that you found, love, and I just love being around y'all. I just love the relationship that you have. And I just thank you for bringing your joy and love to Panama because you have certainly, both of you have certainly enriched my life. Absolutely. And Dana, I will be coming by and I want some of them, me and Sharita. We want some of them stuffed
Bacon
tomatoes.
bites.
Yes, honey.
The BLT
I
bites.
tried to make it, but it don't taste like yours.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
it
So
doesn't. So
when you
I'll be
come
looking
by
forward.
and she makes them, then that's when we get them. She makes them for the company and then we get them.
Yeah,
No, I'm
You and Al were over
anticipating a
there
lot of
cooking up
She
cooking.
stuff.
gets a lot of other stuff.
A
Oh,
lot of cooking.
the kitchen, the kitchen. I got my gourmet kitchen.
Oh my
So
gosh.
excited.
Yes, I'm excited. Well, because when you had made those tomato things for me the
Yes, I
first time.
did. I
I'm,
think
I'm
you
I'm
did.
just declaring
And
that
Alfredo.
they were for me. You and Alfredo was in the kitchen. Me and Sharita was over there. We was eating.
That's right.
She
That's
was
right.
showing me how to hook them up and what was listen. Those, everything was good because you did gumbo that night,
Yep.
as well. And you and Alfredo, y'all was having fun.
Alfredo
And me
came
and
in the kitchen.
Sharita
He
was,
helped
we
me
was,
out with the
me and Sharita
last
was
stuff.
enjoying watching y'all have fun in that kitchen, wasn't we, Sharita?
Yes. But
Yes.
we enjoyed Alfredo cooking at your house
Yes,
too.
we did.
To have them
Well,
ribs, yep, and oh my goodness, it was just in his gumbo.
yes, he makes for me, he makes the best shrimp po' boy. And we were somewhere and I said they got shrimp po' boys and I said I'll bring you one back. And I said, nah, I'm not gonna bring him one back because he's a shrimp po' boy snob. He makes the best po' boy I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
So yes,
Do
and
I
so
hear
he
an
makes the
invitation?
yes, it's an invitation.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell him. Will you just let us know? We'll put it on the menu and he can make it for all of us. So
Perfect.
listen, we gotta get ready to go, but before we do, I just wanted to say thank you for being on the show. Give us, your parting words, any advice that you would give to people moving to an international space, and if you want people to reach out to you, you can give that information too.
My experience of Panama has been a pure joy. The ability to look out over the city and meet different people with such kindness and love and patience.
Hmm.
I'm not fluent in Spanish. I
Hmm.
know I can get by. I got Google Translate, and you smile a lot, and you feel like you're coming home. And just seeing so many brown people doing well here, and treating you with respect, and you feel safe. This is it. This is where I know I will spend my remaining chapter here on the
Wow.
planet in Panama. So we everything we're doing now is this is our forever, and so
Wow.
we'll forever vacation here. We'll forever live here. The friendship and community that's been built with other expats is so rich and loving. I'm doing things that I hadn't even thought I'd be doing. I'm learning how to swim. I'm playing paddleball. I'm also writing a leadership memoir. So share my
Wow.
knowledge of, what I've gained over the years and, guiding people and unleashing potential of people to do their best work that, I was charged with. So I just feel like I am enjoying this. And even though, we talk, oh, should we be looking for jobs or doing something? We don't want to work anymore. So
No.
we want to enjoy life. We have many trips planned. We go out 18 months planning the rest of the different parts of the world we want to see. And, this morning I was going through our list. We have 6 trips planned already in the
Wow.
next 18 months that will take us outside of Panama and to other places in the in the world. And our most recent one we locked into is Morocco next year. So
Oh,
we experiencing
exciting.
that part of the world. So we're just excited that we've been blessed with these opportunities, and we enjoy, as she said, each other's company. We're best friend. My lover, my wife. I mean, and we get to live in a beautiful home and spend our rest of our lives in a beautiful place like Panama.
Yes. And you looking great, Sharita. I'm seeing that arm. You done had that Michelle Obama arm all up in my face. I see your Michelle Obama arm. She got her little arm all up in the frame. Like, yes,
Well,
that's
I have to
my
thank
arm.
Jorge for my weightlifting. We've
Man,
got a
you
personal
looking
trainer,
good.
who's working us out and lifting weights. It helps me to deal with the luggage. I mean, our most recent trip, I was lifting some pounds because we packed 10 days in a carry-on.
Yes.
And that was a
Backing
challenge.
bag.
Yes, the luggage. I feel you on that. I definitely feel you on that. But you both look amazing, and I just think that I think Panama is good for your health.
It is. It is.
Absolutely.
We believe that to be true. We eat better when we're here.
Yes.
The food is fresher,
I cook more.
and she cooks more.
Yeah. And you don't
Well,
have as much stress. And I
Yeah.
don't think that, well, for me, I speak for myself, it's like, I don't think that for some people, we really recognize the stress that we're under until it's not there.
Yes.
And that was for me. And then one day I just woke up and I realized that I wake up different and I go to bed different. You
Mm-hmm.
know
yeah.
what I mean? There's a certain amount of peace
Mm-hmm.
that I have here that I had never experienced, quite frankly, in my life. And so that part right there, I said, peace is the new prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
Authenticity is the new sexy, baby. And I'm
Yeah.
working with all of it. You understand? All right, Dana,
All
take us
right.
on home, Mama.
So I echo everything that Sharita said, but my parting comments are going to take a couple of steps back
Okay.
for those that um, are here and didn't think about it, and those that are at the beginning of their process and thinking about coming to Panama. If you haven't already, book the Black Expats in Panama tour. You will get so much value out of that, more than you will
Mm-hmm.
get on any other tour, because it's not just about this is how you relocate. Yeah, you'll get that, but this is what life is about
Mm-hmm.
here, what life was about before we got here. As you approach retirement, think about what your life is going to be like when you're not working anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Make a plan. Make a plan. If you can afford to get a retirement coach, get one, so that you can figure out what do you want to do in retirement. Because trust me, after about 6 months, just going to a meetup is not going to be enough to sustain your life. You're going to want to have more. You're going to want to develop relationships, not just with other people, but a new relationship with yourself outside of work.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to spend that time? What are you going to do? Where are you going to invest yourself, and how are you going to invest in yourself? I see a large majority of expats that get here and after about 6 months or so decide, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to teach you this. I'm going to teach you that, or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And not only is it not necessarily legal for you to be doing that here, you should make sure you thoroughly investigate that, because it would be a shame for you to lose your visa that you just obtained because you aren't following the laws here. I think part of the reason that happens is because you didn't think beyond what's going to happen when I get down here. Or it didn't, some people come, they've never been here before, or they're still in vacation mode. So put some thought into what to do next. I realize I am the minority when it comes, because again, mom raised me to think ahead, and I'm a planner. So I am putting my energy into very distinct pockets. I grew up with two creative parents, and now I'm ready to full-time throw myself into seeing what kind of an artist I can be. What kind of an author, a damn good one, can I be?
Mhm.
You know, and as the little Bay Vista community grows, what kind of a friend can I be? What kind of a mentor? What kind of a leader? You know, Charlotte, you gave me the opportunity at the very beginning of Welcome Wednesday to get involved. And that involvement, even though I'm not always here because we're gone a lot, that involvement has provided me visibility into the bigger community. Even if I don't remember everyone, they remember me.
Yeah.
That fosters relationships for me and
Yes.
for us. And
Yes.
so get involved. Don't stay at home.
Yep.
You know, if you're shy, there are lots of people that are shy. Start by
Mhm.
getting on some of these WhatsApp groups, and
Mhm.
you'll find something that interests you, and just get out there. Reach out to us. We are not a group. We are
Mhm.
just two women that like to travel, love to go out for a nice bite to eat, or just a coffee, or if you just want to chat. I'm in the Beep WhatsApp, Dana Moore.
Yes.
Rita
Caesar.
Caesar. I'm also D Claire because I'm Dana Claire. So D
Mhm.
Claire Design. That's who I am. Nothing happening on that website yet. But
Yet.
just don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone because your life will be amazing, even more amazing here if you make an effort to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
Yes. Big difference. Big difference. I thank you. I thank you both for your encouragement and for sharing your life with me and your audience. I'm so glad to call you neighbor and sister friends and
Yes.
family,
Mhm.
and just really glad to be a part of your life. So thank you so much for being on the show, and congratulations on the new digs, on the new crib, baby. Congratulations on selling the one in Atlanta. You guys, I don't know how you do it all. I don't know how you keep up with your life, but I see that it looks good on you. It looks good on you. I mean, both of you. Actually, if you just look at the physical changes since your first, time together
Oh,
here in
Oh, yeah.
Panama.
Yeah.
It,
we,
it's
we
it,
have
it's common,
transformed.
huh?
Yes.
We've definitely transformed. When I pulled some of those pictures for you from our beep tour, I was like, oh my God, look at me. I look like a little blimp.
He said, "Is that me?"
Like, who is that woman? Look at her. It's just, ooh,
Panama looks good on you. I love you guys.
Love
love
you
you
too.
too.
Okay, y'all listen. Have a good day.
You too. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye bye. See, I'm telling you, do we have the best, the absolute best guest ever? I appreciate Dana and Sharita for sharing their life with us, and their experience. I know that, in addition to them being women, moving on their own, the fact that they're married, there are other people out here that want to know what is Panama like for us? What does life look like for us? And I hope that Dana and Sharita were able to give you just an example of one couple story living here. Clearly, Panama is it for them. Panama may be it for you, maybe somewhere else. All I'm saying is this: keep looking, keep exploring. Like, Dana, the forever researcher, I dig that. I do. I really do, because she learned things that sometimes you learn and it's kind of too late. You know what I'm saying? You're already in it. And you see people, they come to Panama and they haven't really prepared for it. They didn't really understand that they wasn't going to be able to work while they were here. And next thing you know, they're going home because their mama's sick, and I need to go home and check on some things, and they never come back. You got people that are here that want to stay here and love being here, but they're struggling financially just because they have a very modest. Retirement, if you have a retirement, you can't just say, okay, if I can get a nice place for $1,000 or whatever, and my retirement is $3,000. Well, if your retirement is $3,000 and you still dealing with $1,500 a month in debt, from the United States, that's something you got to take care of. Dana mentioned a retirement coach. I really didn't know there was such a thing. So I'm going to have to look into that and definitely, suggest that if you are, considering retirement, to look into maybe having a coach. But anyway, we're going to go until the next time. I hope that you enjoyed that conversation. Find us everywhere, Black Expats in Panama. Guess what? J. Anthony Brown is coming to Emotions Theater. Black Expats in Panama is a sponsor of that show. If this airs before the 31st of August, I don't think it will. But anyway, up until the 31st of August, we were offering a 20% discount on all the tickets to our BEEP members. It's going to be amazing. Gravedigger is going to be accompanying J. Anthony Brown. Gravedigger was the first African American stand-up comedian to take the stage in Panama, coming, and he shared with Black Expats in Panama at Emotions Dinner Theater at the Hilton on Avenida Balboa. But definitely want to get your tickets to J. Anthony Brown, see what other specials we might run, and just be a part of history, okay? Colombia. Oh my goodness, the Colombia tour was amazing. We had our first cultural relocation tour to Colombia, August 15th through the 20th. The next one is December 10th through the 15th. And I think we have like 3 or 4 spaces left if you're interested in that. You can find everything always on our website, blackexpatsinpanama.net. Sisters in Panama, I think we got about the same amount of spaces left there. We got about 3 spaces left for Sisters in Panama, which is the We Deserve It retreat, January 16th through the 21st. Dana mentioned it during our conversation. It is just the way I love starting my year, with all the sisters, the positivity, the great energy. I just absolutely love it. It charges me for the year ahead. It really does. It gives me some time to just kind of relax and, just enjoy being with my sisters. Follow us everywhere, Black Expats in Panama and Black Expat Journey podcast. I love you. I love you. I love you. And there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. So I'll talk to you soon. Stay tuned for more of my walking and talking with you YouTube videos. Everybody is like really loving them, and I'm loving doing them for you. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.